Video. All right, guys. So this is going off of the Creativity is Manifestation video it is that I made. I see that there's a few people that said that it really resonated with them, and I'm glad to hear that. So I want to continue to dig further into this with more videos that'll come out regularly. So with this video, I want to talk about what is it that actually blocks your creativity. Okay, because one of the things it is that I've learned from my own experience is that we, as artists, we do not have a problem with acquiring new skills. You know, so if we look on YouTube, and this goes back to something I said in the first video, that I have a real issue with the way it is that a lot of people teach art on YouTube, because everything is just based around a technical ability. And we're sold this idea that if you just take more courses, if you just do more repetitions or of, figure drawing or whatever it is that you're trying to do, then you're going to eventually get to a point where you can perform a masterpiece. Now, the craft, that obviously is an aspect of it, but really, if you really honestly look at your own circumstance, you will probably see that you are more than talented or more than skilled in the area of actually performing the craft. Okay, but even with that level of mastery it is that you have, which even if you've only been drawing for a couple of years, you have a mastery that far exceeds what most people are going to be able to do, and is enough to service an idea that is going to communicate something. So we don't need more courses on how to draw or how to paint. But even though we know this, there's kind of this unspoken thing in the artistic community that we are blocked in some way. There's something else that is not clicking into place, and we don't know what that is. That's really the main issue. It's because we've invested so much time into this skill set, and perhaps it's maybe not paying off the way it is that you want it to. Maybe it's not giving you the kind of life it is that you want. And so it seems like there's something else that's just not clicking into place. There's something that is blocking you, but it's about, what is that? What is it that's actually blocking you? So we're going to explore that a little bit, because this is something it is that every artist goes through this. And it's really interesting to me that, truthfully, you can remove these blocks and move through these blocks and still not be able to explain to somebody else how it is that you actually removed those blocks from your life, right? Yeah, because it's not always apparent. And just because somebody can do something at a very high level, that doesn't mean that they understand how it is that they got there. Now, what it is that I have learned from my own experience is that there is a lot of things it is that can block you and block your creativity. Because, like I said, if I was to sum up this, and perhaps I'll make this the title of the video, your problem is not skill acquisition, your problem is your access to your creativity. Okay? It's about access. So the creativity that you are, it's already there. It's already there for you to tap into. It's an infinite resource. That's what creativity is. It's an infinite resource. You cannot exhaust it. And it's the creativity that you have the ability to tap into is so completely specific to you. Okay? It's so specific to you that nobody else can just replicate it. And AI is not going to be able to compete with it either, because it's so specific to you. So what is it that's blocking you? Well, I can only tell you from my experience that there was a number of different things that blocked me. And so I'm going to kind of go through some of these, and I'm going to reflect on my own experience of removing these blocks, and perhaps you can resonate with these things. Again, if you feel a sense of expansion in your chest, then that's a signal from your higher self that you're resonating with this. And if you feel a sense of constriction, then that means no. But what it is that you'll realize is that as you remove these restrictions, as you remove these blockages from your life, your creativity will naturally flow much, much easier, because that's the way that creativity flows. We all know the experience of sitting down and we're drawing something and it comes out and it's perfect, and then we try to do that again and it doesn't work, right? So it's about getting into a frequency. And so instead of thinking about art in terms of the way a digital marketer thinks about art, or the way it is that all these other people try to tell us to think about art, we have to think about it in a completely different way. You have to think about it in terms of you are nurturing a vibration. You're growing a frequency. You're trying to stay within your lane that is a specific frequency that taps you in to your own creative genius. And then all the answers of everything it is that you need, how it is that you're going to do it, they're all going to be there. So some of the big blocks for me was that I was always putting other artists on a pedestal, and I was trying to follow what it is that they did. Right? This is very common to do. You can look on my YouTube channel, you can look at the hundreds of different videos I've done on other artists. That entire time, unconsciously, I'm sitting here comparing myself to these artists and saying, wow, I really want to be able to draw at the level of Dave Raposa, Frank Frazetta, or any of these other artists. I really want to be able to draw like that. That thought gets translated into this idea in my head that, okay, what I want to do is I want to be a concept artist for games. And then I end up spending all this time doing something that honestly I don't really care about. Because truthfully, I would love to do art for video games or something like that. I never have, outside of small little projects. But I have my own vision. I have my own ideas. I have my own illustrations and paintings and my own view of the world that I want to express. Okay? So just by looking at other people's art, I found out that I was confusing myself, because I would look at somebody and I would see that they're successful, and I would say, oh, okay, this is what a successful artist does. They draw like this. They paint like this. They have these kinds of ideas. You see what I'm saying? It's perfectly fine to take inspiration. We have to take inspiration from other artists. But if you put these artists on a pedestal, you put them above yourself, then you can become very confused about what it is that you're doing. So one of the blocks it is that I removed was that I stopped taking in a lot of external influences around me. Okay? And this carries over into the next thing, which is pretty much, this is the theme of this whole video, which is that there's a lot of external forces that block our creativity. Another one of these is watching too much media, specifically things like the news or things that are happening in the world. What we have to understand is that as creative people, we are very sensitive, and that's not an insult. If you're a creative person, you're very sensitive. We are told by society that that is wrong, that makes you weak, and it makes you this fragile little child. No, 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 no. That's not what sensitivity is. Sensitivity is your ability to perceive. It's your ability to perceive things that other people cannot perceive. Because that's why it is that you're an artist. That's why this is a mystic path. This is the path of the mystic. This is the path of the hermit, the tarot. It's more like a vision quest. It's not a job. And if you think about it like a square, like a job, you're not going to get anywhere with it, because that's not the way it is that this works. Okay? So if you're, again, putting too much attention on what it is that is going on in this world, what it is that's happening, like, so for example, everybody loves to sit around and debate and talk about politics, right? I don't. I never talk about politics on my channel, and it's not because I don't have an opinion. It's because, from my perspective, every single time it is that you expose your mind to a external stimulus, it is affecting your vibration. And if you are a sensitive person, if you're somebody who has a ability to perceive greater than other people, then you should be able to see this. Because the news, what is happening is, I mean, if you just look at the news just in general, not just talking about things that are happening now in our world, but I'm just talking about in general, the news has never given you good news. It has never told you anything that was going to actually uplift you. And the reason why that is because you're not going to watch it, because our brains are hardwired to focus on the negative, right? Our brains are hardwired to focus on the negative in order for us to have that bias, in order to change that. But what it is that's happened with these media corporations, whether they're the social media algorithms, whether it's the mass media, regardless if you're left, right, whatever, it's totally beside the point. The point is that they know how to get your attention. And anything it is that gets your attention, they are stealing your energy. And when they're stealing your energy, they're literally stealing your creativity. That's what it is that they're doing. Because there's only one energy that you have available to you, and that is your life force, right? Like we might think in terms of, we might think we have, different energies inside of us. And I guess to a certain extent you could say that we do. We have the sexual energy, right? We have an intellectual energy, right? And then we have an emotional energy. We put these labels on it, but truthfully, these are all the same energy. So whenever you watch something that stresses you out, for example, the news, because that's what it's designed to do, what is it that it happens is that it elicits an emotional response from you. And that emotional response is a response of fear. Now, there's only, to simplify everything, there's only two modes of existence that you can be in. You can either be in survival mode, or you can be in creation mode. Okay? You're either in survival mode or you're in creator mode. So if you just consider that for a moment, if you are in a state of fear, what is it that makes you think that you're going to be able to make any creative decisions about anything? And if you're in a situation where, maybe you're in a place where it is that the political climate is not favorable to you, then this applies even more, right? Because you want to be able to make the right decisions in order to get out of a situation if you need to. So you don't want to be emotionally reactive. Okay? So this is the other thing that blocks us is that we become very emotionally reactive to things around us. And then as we become emotionally reactive to these things around us, we begin to trauma bond. We begin to connect our energy to these things. And this is very dangerous, and it's something it is that we need to understand as artists, is that in order to create something is to perceive something. In order to perceive something is also to create something. Okay? Creation and perception of something is the exact same thing. So if there is some hostility in your environment, you have to remove your attention from it. You have to remove your energy from it. That's the only way it is that the situation can go away, is when people stop feeding their energy and stop feeding their attention into it. Okay? So all of this is about taking back our power. So the last one it is that I'll say is going to be the one that's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, probably. So this one might be somewhat controversial. But you really need to look at the people it is that you have around you. Really look at the people it is that you have around you and see if they're actually on your side or not. Because what it is that I've noticed is that there is often a lot of people who, they may pretend like they're on your side when you're at a certain level. Maybe you have a dream of being an artist, and they're somewhat supportive of your idea because deep down inside they don't really think that you can do it. They don't think that you can really do it, and the reason why they don't think that you can do it is because they're somebody who could never actually follow any of their own dreams, and so they project onto you this insecurity. So they may humor your ambitions of being an artist, but deep down inside they don't really think that you're going to do it. But then as soon as you start to make progress, now all of a sudden this person has an opinion, or their energy starts to change towards you. I'm not going to get into specifics, but I'll say this, that I've had to disconnect myself from so many people in my life. And that can be some of the closest people that are around you. You take a mother, for example. I mean, this is just a very real reality, is that a mother or a father can get very jealous of your ability and want to basically keep you underneath them because you might outshine them in some way. And they want to look at you like a little child still. And they want to keep you in that role because it suits them. This is what people do. They really do. And the further it is that you go along, the more obvious this will be. It could be family, it could be friends, it can be different people that have put this idea on you that you're an artist, and so therefore you're basically not going anywhere. I mean, you really got to reflect on, why do you feel stuck? Where are you getting this idea from? Because when you were a kid and you were being creative as a kid, well, I mean, you weren't stuck then. You just created things. Whatever it is that you wanted to make, you just made things. But now, all of a sudden, something has come into your energy that has affected your energy, and it has to do with some sort of external energy that you have given your power over to. Because ultimately, it's all about your power. It's all about you drawing a line and saying, this is where I am and that's where you are. And if that means you have to walk away from relationships entirely, then that's what it is that it means, period. And those things can be very difficult to do, but the more fear it is that these things bring up, and the more pain it is that these things bring up, that is telling you that on the other side of that fear, on the other side of that pain, is a major expansion. To the degree of that fear is the degree of the expansion it is that you're going to feel when you cut that person out of your life. When you cut that situation out of your life, that way of thinking out of your life. The way it is that I think about myself as an artist in the past was that I thought, okay, what I need to do is I just need to outwork everybody. If I just spend all of my time just drawing, and I draw everything, if I want to do concept art, I'll do some character designs, and then I'll do some illustrations, and then maybe I'll do some paintings and some comic books after that. All it is that did was just wear me out. It just burnt me out because it's not possible. We can't do it all. Okay? And it's not necessary to do it all. It's not. Right? The difference now is the way I look at it is that I look at it as if I am growing a plant. Okay? You plant a seed. When you plant that seed in the ground, you nurture it. And one of the things that you do is you don't allow other things to just come in and dig that seed up. You wouldn't allow somebody, you wouldn't allow a dog to run over there and dig up a seed it is that you just planted. Right? Just in that exact same way, the other way it is that you can block yourself is by talking about your ideas with other people. Why talk about your ideas with other people? You have a seed, you have an idea that comes to you. Maybe it's an idea for a comic book or a game or painting series or something like that. Why are you telling anybody? Don't tell anybody about this. That seed is yours, and it's very precious, and it's very subtle, and it's very sensitive. Because your connection to your creativity is it's this sensitive, okay? It's like you plant a seed in the ground, and then you go over there and tell this other person, oh, I have this great idea for this painting I'm going to do, and blah, blah, blah. And you start sitting here telling this person, and then this person goes over there and basically sticks their finger in and goes, oh, look at this little seed. Oh, that little seed, that's what it is that you think? You think that this is going to turn into anything? Look at it. It's just this puny little seed. It doesn't mean anything. And now you did this. It's not their fault. You opened the door. You opened the door for somebody else to come and basically stick their finger into your little project and basically contaminate the thing it is that you're trying to grow. When you're trying to grow, for example, mushrooms or something like that, you have to keep that stuff walled off. Because otherwise it gets contaminated. And then if it gets contaminated, it doesn't grow the way that it's supposed to. It can be poisoned because it gets contaminated. So that's another thing to consider. Why tell other people your ideas? This is another aspect of our culture, of our whole society, is that we've gotten into this whole perhaps this is kind of a weird metaphor, but I think it works. We live in a very ejaculatory culture where if you get an idea, if you get some sort of a revelation, now all of a sudden you think it's your job to run around and tell everybody about it. You want to tell people about this experience it is that you had, this spiritual experience you had, right? You want to tell people about this thing it is that you learned. How about instead of doing that, just create it and then put it into the world and then let other people take what it is that they have to take from it? Because that's ultimately what it is that we're supposed to do. And so when you open a creative project to other people putting their nose in it, you're essentially taking all of the power, you're taking all of the energy out of that idea. Because whenever you just consider for a moment, just again, look at your own experience. When you have an idea that strikes you, when you have an idea that comes through and is just like right on point, there is a ecstatic energy that is inside of you. There's this energy that is inside of you that you want to execute on this, okay? You don't want to just go and just give that to somebody else. Not that way. You want to put it into the work, and then you give the work to the world. And so you take this energy and you transmute it. You take that energy that is a spiritual energy and you put it into physical form. Okay? So that's what it is that I have to say about what it is that blocks us creatively. That's what I have to say today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found that it resonated. Please leave a like and leave me a comment if it did. And, I also have some one-on-one mentoring that I'm going to be opening up for those who feel like they need it. I'll say right now, you don't need it if you understand what it is that I'm getting at. It's not necessary, but for some people, maybe they feel that they would like to do a one-on-one with me. So for those that are interested, I have an email that you can reach out to me in the link or in the description box below. You can also go and check out my own art prints and stuff like that. My art is about to be exhibited in Venice, in Italy, and in Salerno, Italy. And I'm looking at potentially doing some more things here in Europe as I'm traveling around. So yeah, I've got some exciting stuff that I'm going to be sharing later on, and I want to share everything it is that I can with people to show you that it's 100% possible for everybody. It's just a process of cultivating a vibration. That's what it is. So if you want to buy my art, you want to buy my t-shirts, you want to check out the stuff that I'm doing, you can check it out in the links below. Or if you want to do a mentoring with me, I also have a Patreon. And so I may be tying the Patreon into mentoring as well. But if you'd like to support me there, you can check that out. I'll be posting some stuff there as well. And thanks, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And take care.